Congrats on the victory. I think you only gave up 19 points over the final 18 minutes when you guys were down 13 midway through that third. I'm sure that 83 looks pretty good in the box score. Just defensively, what did you like about how you guys were able to respond in the back half of that third quarter and then in the fourth as well?
The first thing that I was happy with was the fact that we continued to play defense, even though our offense wasn't as good as it probably could have been or should have been. But I also thought that we got some decent looks offensively. And I think in the past, the team has resorted to letting the offense affect our emotional spirit. And I thought that we just continued to play through it, and we continued to trust each other and keep getting stops. And at the half, I believe they had 42, 44 points or something like that, and we were still right there in the game. And they come out, they go on a run, and, you know, basketball is obviously, sports are a game of runs and momentum. And I thought that we captured a moment where we changed our coverages, and the guys executed it to a T. I thought the effort level, the communication level just went up, and also the physicality. I thought the physicality defensively actually transferred over to our offense, too, where we started just screening a lot better and creating more advantages.
Grant said this morning something along the lines of, like, he was kind of joking that he thinks it's kind of, you know, funny that because they don't have the two centers right now, that automatically the rebounding is going to suffer, and that you have a lot of guys that play bigger than their size, good positional rebounders. Was, you know, winning the glass by 20 was tonight kind of an example of what he said in that statement.
Yeah. Yeah, and again, I credit the physicality of, I think, these smaller guys, or by height stature, they might be smaller, but I feel like they're still just really strong, really physical. They do a great job of using their body, hitting first, I think, and then give credit to the guards for coming in. I think that so many times teams or big men take hits for not coming up with more rebounds. But unfortunately, I think that it's a total team effort. We have to have participation from all five guys. It can be a wrestling match sometimes down there with the bigs, and so it's important that the guards come in and help rebound too. So I was really just happy with the collective effort on the glass.
Trey Mann talked earlier in the season about learning how to twist the knife when you have a team on the edge. When you have a guy like LaMelo Ball leading the league in fourth quarter scoring, someone that can twist that knife, how much does it benefit a team when you have that guy?
Yeah, it helps a ton when you know that you get to the fourth quarter in crunch time and you have that guy, and then you have a bunch of guys around him that can also hoop. And I think that he just works really well with his teammates. I think you saw he was able to play in some two-man games with Brandon. Again, just credit his ability to play off the ball sometimes, to give it up and go down and play an off-ball action, try to get the defense off of you, and then now you may receive it back or you might get involved in an after action. So I just think that his overall confidence in himself, his confidence in his teammates, just exudes in the fourth quarter. And I think it just becomes contagious for all of us, where we know we got that guy and he's going to help us all be better.
You talked about, I guess, trying to build a culture here. Just a win like this, with you missing a couple of guys, I guess a team that has a couple of all-stars, like what can this win do for you guys, I guess, mentally as you move forward here?
Yeah, I think a great, gritty win. Again, the collective togetherness, the collective competitiveness. I'm proud of the group because, you know, every day we come in, we talked today about, like, we don't make excuses. We just keep making progress. And it's not about, you know, some of the injuries. You're like, oh, why is this happening to us? No, like, what is this trying to teach us? What is this going to help us learn to do better, to grow from? And, you know, I think that the guys have just kind of embraced the adversity and found a way to, like, use this as a time to just keep getting better and keep trusting on each other.
Then you started Tijan, obviously, in Miles' place. What did you see from him, and why did you decide to put him in that role tonight, starting unit?
I just thought there's a lot of reasons that I went back and forth with. I think Grant has done a great job in his role of coming off the bench and helping anchor some of that second unit. He's usually the first sub for Taj right now in the position that we have. And so I thought Tijan, it would help benefit him the most to, you know, be around 4 other veterans and be surrounded by those guys, and he doesn't have to do too much and kind of find his way that way. And I thought that he did a really good job of stepping in and bringing effort and, you know, helping the ball move a little bit. He had some great after actions. I thought that he got a couple really good looks. And then defensively, we switched up his coverages every now and then. And so, like, I thought that was a great experience for him to understand, like, okay, now you're on a hot guy. And so you got to close out a little bit differently, or you're going to be in the center red coverage because he can shoot. And now you're in a center field. And so he's getting some great reps right now, and also just being coached by the players on the floor, which has been helpful.
Charles, I know you like to see players take a progression, keep progressing in their career. It seemed like tonight Brandon maybe took another step. I mean, he really put the team on his shoulders in that third quarter. I wonder if you speak to what he did in that third quarter and how he kind of turned it up.
Yeah, he definitely had an offensive burst there. But I credit the guys around him for being able to help him get open and get some shots. I thought in the first half we weren't really creating any type of screening advantages. And we went with some pick and roll actions, thinking that we could kind of play in the seam and hit the bigs, and then all of a sudden they can kind of facilitate and either score or kick out for some threes. And didn't really get it as much as we wanted to, and I thought the ball was sticking a little bit. And in the second half, we went to a little bit more off-ball stuff. And again, him and Melo worked really well together. Trey Mann, I remember him setting a heck of a screen too. So Brandon benefited from the help of his teammates, but I think that, to your point, Brandon wants the ball in these moments when we all of a sudden our offense was struggling a little bit, and he wanted to help it. So impressed with how he owned his space today, because I do think that this Indiana team can be physical. The guys that guard him are a lot more physical, so he found a way tonight to get some open shots.
You guys are playing small, kind of by necessity, but it seems like when you guys go small on defense, you have some advantages that come on that side of the floor by having five guys that can switch and play on everybody, really. Can you talk about some of the advantages that playing small on defense gives you guys?
Yeah, to your point, it just gives us a layer of versatility. We don't always have to switch everything. That's the beauty of having Grant and Miles and Tijan and Musa, is that these guys sometimes they'll play in center coverage where they're maybe up a little bit more, but we can maintain. And so Josh and Cody and Brandon can maintain their matchups of whoever we put them on. And then if we want to go 1 through 5 is red, I think that the communication has gotten so much better, and the attention to detail on that end of the floor is just continuing to improve every day.
And talk a little bit about Musa. He had 15 rebounds tonight. I think it's maybe the most minutes he's played all season. Gave you guys a great effort. Talk a little about what you saw from him tonight.
Yeah, after the game, made sure to obviously I talk a lot, so I talked about a lot of things. But one of the things I kind of just finished with was how do you impact winning without scoring? And he found a way to do that today. And super proud of him, happy with the effort he gave. Like you said, 15 rebounds, 0 points, and I think 3 or 4 huge blocks. And so proud of him for not being so bogged down with the box score and the stats and the scoring. He did a lot of the dirty work tonight, and you need guys that are going to embrace that role, and he did that at a really high level tonight.